Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth, and fancy seeing you here in June. I'm very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. Yes, I love Superman. What are you going to do about it? This is a Doctor Who video, isn't it? Anyway, if you're feeling charitable, please smash the subscribe button, smash the like button, and follow me on Twitter @MoviesTVMad. Did you enjoy Neil himself, Neil Gaiman, tweeting along with us? You know, with hashtag bigger on the inside while we all watched The Doctor's Wife. I thought it was great. I thought it was brilliant. We had the director. What about the brilliant video? Arthur Darvill did as Rory. Imagine he's isolating like us at home, and he's just gone back into character. I'm sure he rehearsed it on his own. Thank you, Arthur. You are brilliant, not only as Rory, but as Rip Hunter on Legends of Tomorrow. You're a great actor, very talented man. Maybe one day you can come back and play the Doctor. Right, the Doctor Who universe is full of its controversy, and I'm going to read you what Neil Gaiman said during the tweet along and what a fan replied to him. Very interesting. I only saw this morning, but this is fun. The idea that the Corsair... Let's start again. The idea that the Corsair had regenerated as men and women was something that turned up in a draft, and I expected Steven Moffat to strike through. I was so glad he left it in, and look how it grew, bigger on the inside. The idea that Time Lords can regenerate back and forth into men and women was the worst idea ever. Look at the failed mess we have now. So you yourself contributed to the downfall of Doctor Who and crushed millions of fans' sire. He then, if we go back, he quote tweets this, not being, well, you can decide for yourselves if he's being negative. He's going, hurrah! In other words, I don't give a shit. I did what I wanted to do. Right. I want to talk today about The Doctor's Wife shortly, and about the next tweet event, which is heaven sent. Yes, whoever did that whole fake Peter Capaldi wasn't going to get a mention in that fake quote from Emma. Peter wasn't a very popular Doctor. If that wasn't true, and I'm not quite convinced, I think that Emily probably does feel that way, but that's just my opinion. I love her. I love what she's doing. She's doing a great job. Just my opinion. It's all about opinions. And I think without that fake article, Peter wouldn't be, we wouldn't be watching along to Peter's and Steven Moffat's greatest Doctor Who episode. Heaven sent. We're going to talk about it in a minute anyway. Now, I want to go back to this tweet exchange because it is important. I think that people like Neil Gaiman are talented. For Christ's sake, I'm a big DC fan, as you can see. I mean, he is one of the pioneers of DC Vertigo. He co-created Lucifer. He's amazing. He's a genius. But they can't help themselves, these people. These extreme leftists can't help themselves. Now, personally, what that woman, Iris, responded to him, I think she shouldn't have done it. It was a positive event. It's about the positive things about Doctor Who. We all love The Doctor's Wife. I don't think there's anyone who doesn't like that episode. There was no need for her to go at him. But also, he started something there. Maybe unconsciously, maybe self-consciously. Who knows? And really, it's not about that. It's about celebrating Doctor Who, celebrating Neil's work on this episode. I don't want to get into whether the Doctor and Time Lords should be male and female. I definitely think Time Lords should be able to be men and women and regenerate into different genders. I'm happy for the Doctor to regenerate into a man of colour, a woman of colour, a white woman, anything that looks like anything. I don't mind. But it has to be done properly, and it has to be made interesting. The problem is with modern Doctor Who isn't Jodie Whittaker, isn't the fact that the Doctor's a female. The problem is Chris Chibnall. He's made it Dr. Bland, and that's the problem. Anyway, that's my 2 pence worth on that. I don't really want to go into Neil Gaiman's new series, which I started watching, then saw something that kind of, I said, right, I'm not going to get triggered here. I'm just not going to watch it. I didn't. Good Omens, that's what it is. I saw something at the beginning. I'm not going to talk about it, but I thought, step too far, mate. Pointless. You're triggering people for the hell of it, and I stopped watching it. And that's all I want to say about that. Right, I want to talk about The Doctor's Wife first and foremost. This beautiful sunny morning here in Cyprus, because this is where I live, and with my disabled father, who I care for. I also spend my days writing and developing scripts. I also do fan fiction. I'm working on some Dallas fan fiction right now. I'm working really hard with some other people to try and bring that show back because I think it's an amazing show and it should still be on TV. Right, The Doctor's Wife. The Doctor's Wife is a good episode, and I do value it. I don't think it's the best episode of Doctor Who ever. I actually think 3/4 of the episode are quite bland and quite ordinary, and I'm not really that concentrated on it. I think the best moment in this is one of the greatest moments in Doctor Who history, and that's the moment when the Doctor and Idris have to say goodbye to each other. It's the moment when the Doctor and the TARDIS have to say goodbye to each other. It's a beautiful, emotional moment. First, right, the Doctor and the TARDIS have always had a relationship. The TARDIS has got a consciousness. The TARDIS is an amazing piece of kit. You don't build it. You don't make it. As David Tennant's Doctor told Billie Piper's Rose, you don't make the TARDIS, they're grown. And that's how they work. But they have self-consciousness. They have a personality. They know what's going on. They can decide where the TARDIS goes. So we get a couple of great moments in this episode. You never took me where I wanted to go. No. But I always took you where you needed to go. And that's a beautiful scene. Matt Smith as Saran Jones. I knew Saran a lot through Coronation Street. And I used to do a lot of blogging for Corrie. And I spoke to her a few times. She's great. And if you see her performance in Coronation Street, you would never imagine she could deliver. Not because it's bad. It's amazing. Her performance in Coronation Street is amazing. Let me get that right. But it's the different caricatures she's played since Coronation Street and the characterizations that shows this is a multi-talented actor. She really is. She could have and probably should have been the female Doctor. She would have been amazing. And it's not about acting. You know, Jodie Whittaker can clearly act. But is she a one-trick pony? Could she give us varieties of emotions? And, you know, can she take the Doctor where we need it to go? But it's up to Chris Chibnall. He has to challenge Jodie to do that. We can talk about that in other videos. Anyway, so when they're saying goodbye to each other, they're always going to be there for each other. Listen, the TARDIS and the Doctor, when the Doctor first runs away from Gallifrey with the TARDIS, these two lost souls, the TARDIS admits, Idris admits, that she leaves her door open. She stole the Doctor, right? So he can get in there. So he gets in there. And these are two lost souls that want to escape, and they do. It shows you the beauty of loneliness and them not being lonely. The Doctor was lonely on Gallifrey. All he had was his granddaughter. He had all these other family members and people, but they didn't see things his way, and it was very isolating and lonely for the Doctor. That's how I see it anyway. But the TARDIS and the Doctor understand each other. You see, every single companion thinks that they know and understand the Doctor, arrogantly. But the only entity in the universe that truly gets this person is the TARDIS. Because these two entities, right, have spent more time with each other. Imagine the highs and the lows the Doctor's had in the TARDIS or after an adventure. And the TARDIS has been there to take him where he needs to go. Amazing. And Neil Gaiman really gets it. So it's an amazing episode. It's an emotionally satisfying episode. But I will say, when you look at the whole 45 minutes, it's an episode I don't know very well. It's an episode I probably wouldn't go back and watch again and again and again because I find most of it quite boring to be and bland. But what I like about it are these kind of interactions with the Doctor and Idris when Idris becomes the TARDIS and the farewell. I think they're beautiful moments. The building of the TARDIS in the junkyard. Also, a Doctor Who geek and nerds, you know, wet dream, let's be honest, whether you're male or female, it doesn't matter, does it? So, amazing. Amazing. So, it's an amazing episode. So, I enjoyed tweeting along, but it wasn't that emotion and excitement like I did with Rose or Day of the Doctor, because I know those episodes a lot more. And this is what happens. I mean, so, the next tweet along is Heaven Sent. Emily's already announced it. She has released the hashtag. I just don't get it. I just don't get the hashtag, so I'm really going to have to get my head around it. Tuesday night, 8 o'clock again. Can't wait. It's a great time for me because I put my dad to bed about half 9 Cypriot time, sorry. So basically 10 o'clock UK, Cypriot time, should I say. The tweet along will begin 8 p.m. your time, UK time. So very, very exciting. Heaven Sent. Heaven Sent. I'm so happy they're doing this episode, by the way. But Heaven Sent is probably one of the greatest, most groundbreaking moments in television history. But I'll go deeper. This is probably the most profound, deepest, groundbreaking moment in Doctor Who history. This is an amazing episode. It really is, from start to finish. Moffat and Capaldi achieved something that very few people who work on television or film will ever achieve. It's amazing. It's a soul-revealing, it's a soul-searching episode. The Doctor's got to come to terms with losing Clara, but all he wants is revenge. And he's trying to fight his way through to find whoever is responsible for that death. It's an amazing episode full of mysteries and challenges for the Doctor, and Capaldi nails it. It's an amazing episode. When I first saw that episode, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was that good. But with as good as that episode is, Hellbent destroys every single thing about what the Doctor goes through. It makes the Doctor look like an idiot. It disrespects Clara. And you can't. And if I had sat here with Stephen Moffat, who I have a grade of respect for, not that I'm sure he cares one way or the other. I'm just an ordinary. I get that. But I would say to him, Stephen, what possessed you to bring her back to life? What was the point? You had a great, potentially, Hellbent was a great return to Gallifrey story, like we were promised in the Day of the Doctor, right? And even in the trailers before Hellbent. And we were given this, well, listen, the acting was great, and the music was great, it looked great, but the episode, what was on the pages, simply betrayed the fans, betrayed the actors, and betrayed the characters. And it undoes the beauty of Heaven Sent. And I don't know why a writer would do that. Either he felt that he wanted to bring her back to life, but if you're going to bring her back to life, why kill her in the first place? It doesn't make sense, does it? I mean, we could talk about Hellbent. Who knows if Emily's going to be that controversial and do Hellbent as a watch-along. I can tell you something, Stephen, if that ever happens, you probably need to come off Twitter, because I'm a bit calm about it, quite calm about it now, but a lot of people are still very angry at what you did there, mate. But yeah, I can't wait to tweet along with this episode. It's a beautiful episode. I will probably tweet a little bit less than I did last night, because I want to focus on rewatching the episode as well. But I want to tweet along. I want to get involved. We know Stephen Moffat's involved. We know a couple of other people involved. It's very exciting. I wish Peter could be involved, just like I wish Chris Eccleston was involved with the Rose tweet along. It's not going to happen, is it? More chance. Peter may be involved. You know, Matt did it, didn't they? They created this kind of Twitter account where it's kind of pre kind of said words from Matt. So maybe Peter can do that as well, because, as I say, Heaven Sent is a great achievement. Now, what went wrong with Doctor Who? What's gone wrong with it? What's gone wrong with Doctor Who is truly this. I think seasons 1 to 5 are as near perfection as you'll ever see in any franchise, in any bunch of seasons. It's really from 6 onwards where the natives began to get restless. Now, I was a supporter of Moffat's season 6 arc. I like the fact that he's a writer who doesn't spoon feed his audience with sugar. Open wide, here are all the answers. A lot of people from this generation overanalyze things. It's like the exploding TARDIS. I didn't care about the exploding TARDIS. I never questioned it. I never cared about it. Do you know what? I didn't even remember seeing it until people started talking about it. That's how much of irrelevance that had for me. So it really amazed me to the reaction of season 6. I think season 6A is really, really good. I think the problems began with Let's Kill Hitler. And I think Doctor Who as a franchise then began to have a problem. People didn't feel satisfied with the second part of season 6 or the conclusion of the arc. And it's a shame, because I think season 6 is a pretty amazing season with some amazing episodes like The Doctor's Wife and many more. The Almost People, you know, The Rebel Flesh, an amazing two-parter as far as I'm concerned. But this is when, I think, when people really became restless. But I think it's a good season. It's season 7, 8, which is really mediocre. I like most of season 9. It's only Hellbent that ruined season 9. I think season 9 with its two-parters was amazing. I think season 10 is solid, but you could tell it was coming to the end of the Moffat era. And it's not even worth discussing 11 and 12 because we've already discussed it in the reviews and the reactions to those episodes. And this is where we are now. But we are trapped. We are on this lockdown. And I think the least we can do is forget about what we don't like about Doctor Who and focus about what we love. So I can't wait to do the tweet along for Heaven Sent this Tuesday. Comment down below, like, share and subscribe. And I'll be back tomorrow, maybe, with more Doctor Who Daily. See you again soon.